deadly predators, including leopards, wolves, and scorpions. Encircled by 12 similar monoliths, a blackened area on the floor marked the spot where a fire had burned overnight, keeping the darkness at bay while the men moved the last stone giant into place. Now, with the sun peeking over the horizon, no one dared to speak, for even though they knew the thing was coming, they feared their words might anger the dark apparition that had haunted their dreams for so long. For the past 2 years the men had toiled under a blazing sun to do what the entity had commanded of them. They had worked day in and day out, hacking giant blocks of stone from a nearby hillside to be used in the construction of something that was a total mystery to them, and already a dozen of their number had been killed, crushed to death, before they had learned the finer points of moving heavy stone objects that weighed over 16 tons. In the years preceding the appearance of the entity, this tightly knit band of hunter-gatherers had roamed the land at will, sleeping under the stars while maintaining a close bond with Mother Earth. They had moved from one place to another following the herds of animals that provided their food and clothing, and, like their ancestors before them, they had drunk clear water from free-flowing rivers and wandered through vast green forests where the game was always plentiful and fresh. Compared to their modern-day brethren, they had lived a relatively idyllic life. But on a warm spring day, as they camped on a grassy plain beneath a pot-belly-shaped hill, something had happened. Something that was so frightening to these people that they had suddenly ceased their wandering ways to begin construction of something that was completely useless to them. Where before their life had been one of fluid motion and play, these nomadic tribesmen now toiled beneath an unyielding sun to build something that had never before been seen on the entire planet. And had it not been for the instructions given to them by the entity, they never would have considered building such a thing in the first place. As far as they could tell, this circle of stone served no obvious purpose. It just sat there, a constant reminder of the seemingly endless days spent in back-breaking labor. A full 7 millennia before the construction of the Great Pyramid at Giza had even begun, these men had broken with thousands of years of tradition to build a complex stone structure by hand, all without the benefit of metal tools, wheels, or draft animals. The only question was, why? It was a question that would cause archaeologists to scratch their heads in wonder when, in the 20th century, the Stonehenge-like circle of stone was finally unearthed in modern-day Turkey. But unbeknownst to these present-day finders of ancient artifacts, even the primitive men who had labored so long and hard to build it had no idea why they had done it other than the fact that they had been told to do so by something that terrified them. Now, sitting on a crude stone floor, the men waited, and in the afternoon, as the sun began to beat down on the grassy slope with a fiery stillness, the sound of a dog barking in the distance heralded the arrival of dark clouds that began to flow in from the east. They were roiling black clouds, the kind that brought strong winds and blotted out the sun, and right on cue the winds began to blow. Huddled inside the circle of stone, the men lifted their fur skins over their heads in an attempt to shield their eyes from the swirling dust, all the while hoping against hope that the structure they had been ordered to build would somehow appease the thing they knew was coming. Without so much as a whisper, a dark shape began to materialize in the center of the ring. It wavered in and out of the earth plane like a fluctuating hologram from another dimension, until finally, as a hot, sulfur-infused wind continued to blow, a leathery winged apparition stood before them, swinging its monstrous head from side to side as its blood-red eyes fixed them with an otherworldly stare. As the frightened men began to scuttle backward, the group began to quiver, and as the shaking grew stronger, the stone floor became transparent, revealing a black crystal abyss that fell away into the depths of the earth beneath the feet of the terrified men. Above their heads, a pillar of bluish light carrying